Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6, have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players you have to know about. Morning all. Hit Duncan this morning. Got up early. Today is tricky. Today is a tricky day with college basketball because we don't have the big school matchups. We don't have incredible tournaments. It's sort of the calm before the storm as we get closer to Thanksgiving and some of those great games. So today's a little tricky. So how to put some extra time in. FTN Fantasy. If you haven't joined us, please look at the bottom. Promo code is right there. Jump on in. We got Marshall Gershon here who's hitting 47x ladders last night on the NBA because we look at our prop tool. We get one of the biggest edges, which is De'Aaron Fox, swiping a Fox against Minnesota. He dropped 60, ladders it out the wazoo. So we have that. We have Josh Gross, all the great stuff. Ryan Coleman's first article for us today came over, joined us after doing a lot of college basketball betting and research the last couple of years. He's on the team. Walt Waddell, Frank Branks models, his are in there. We're ready to go. And, of course, the sides are rolling as they do here on the College Basketball Betting Show for FTN, up 11.7 units on college basketball sides. And it's only been not even 2 weeks yet. So we're up to a great start. Want to start off quickly. What did we learn? So let's quickly go around the college basketball landscape. What have we learned the last couple of days? Remember, don't leave your wingman. It was an incredibly profitable week for us. Outstanding with the sides, hitting it left and right. The key is this. The burden of proof should be on the favorite. When you look at these games, because it's early in the season, there's a lot of transfers, there's a lot of moving parts, you have to make sure that you feel the favorite can definitely cover. And if they can't, and you want to make a bet on the game, I'd go with the underdog. So I start, the de facto for me is the underdog, and then I want to see if the favorite can take me off of it. And that's what we've done. We've done incredibly well with underdogs this year, really hitting hot. Wisconsin scores 103 points on Arizona. I stayed away from this game for 2 reasons. Number one, it's Arizona in a non-conference matchup against Wisconsin. Number 2, Wisconsin at home is extremely difficult. And you're seeing the volatility with some of these teams, mainly Arizona. Caleb Love can shoot them in and out of games. I will never back Arizona to go far in the NCAA tournament with Caleb Love as their main scorer. And last night, Caleb Love, terrible. Fouled out of the game, 6 points, 0 of 6 from three-point range, and they fall apart. It's like Tommy Lloyd has brought him in and said, we're going to ride or die with him. He is too volatile. You saw him a couple of years ago take North Carolina almost to the national championship, to the game at least, but they almost won the whole title. He had a shot to win it there. But he's not someone you can rely on. And on the other side, John Tonje went absolutely ballistic. 41 points, 4 of 6 from 3, 21 of 22 from the free throw line. John Tonje coming over from Colorado State. Always remember John Tonje for hitting a three-pointer in that massive Colorado State comeback against San Diego State. That's number 1. Alabama's going to live and die by the 3. Last year, they burned us. We almost had Clemson to the Final Four. They just could not overcome the hot shooting. If they get hot, they can beat anyone. I just don't think they're going to get hot for long periods of time. I think they're going to be very up and down. And I think, quite frankly, last year, the luck box went with them in the tournament. Their style is not one that can be sustainable because if they don't make the threes, they're not going to win. That's the issue. And they ended up playing this Wisconsin team, played Arizona, beat them. Alabama goes to Purdue, a team they should dominate, and they can't stop Trey Kaufman-Renn. Trey Kaufman-Renn is dominating Cliff Amaruri from Rutgers. Cliff Amaruri can't stop Trey Kaufman-Renn. He's getting beat in the post. Never understood it. Alabama lives and dies by the 3. Always one you have to be careful of. I tell you, Kevin Willard's king of the little people of Maryland. I've said it over and over again. Last night was a chance to show me wrong against Marquette, and he could not do it. The problem is the Big Ten may be little people. So Kevin Willard could get hot in the Big Ten because there aren't any top teams. But you're playing Shaka Smart, a Marquette team with Cam Jones, all those guys who've returned from last year. I know no Kolick, but still, that team is very good. They're disciplined, and they're gritty, and they pushed around Maryland at the end and got the W, even though Derek Queen had a good game, the freshman from Maryland. I've had enough of Loyola Chicago. Drew Valentine is not a good coach, and at Loyola Chicago is not a good program. The problem is they have these wings that can attack the basket, and teams are not able to stop them. Loyola Chicago last night goes to Princeton, who I like, but Princeton's not able to blow out or cover against anyone. And they go in and they win 73-68. Why? Because Jaden Dawson scores 17, 5 of 10 from three-point range. Because Sheldon Edwards scores 13, 3 of 10 from three-point range. They have wings who can score. They have bucket getters. So I don't like their defense. I don't like their system. I don't like their coach. But they're beating teams that are inferior to them because they have those scores. I think FAU is a live fade when they're winning. Last night, I should have hit that against Charleston. Yes, it went to double overtime. It was exceptionally close, but they were up very early in that game. And this is the second time now they blow those leads. I've been fading Florida Atlantic last year, even when Dusty May was there. And I think I'm going to go back to doing it again. They blew a big lead at UCF. And last night against Charleston, they were up 19-9. And I said to myself, 19-9 here. They're playing Charleston. This could be the game where we end up hitting the live line. I didn't do it. I'm kicking myself. Now they're going to a neutral court, and we'll get to this in a little bit. After that Charleston 2 overtime game, who do they get? Liberty. Down screen, back screen, brutal. So something to think about there. Villanova's completely broken. I stayed away because I don't like Virginia either this year. Villanova is lost. They can't beat anyone. Kyle Neptune is never going to survive the year. Why would you stay with Kyle Neptune? You're not going to want these players to leave at the end of the year. So you're going to want to make a move and get some positivity going and bring somebody in here. That's what you're going to want to do. So I think Villanova is totally broke. Vermont is struggling. Vermont got off to a great start. We love John Becker. We like the 4 returning starters, and they beat UAB, so I was on them. But look what Vermont has done. Auburn destroyed, hot shooting night. Merrimack away by 14. Should never happen. And then last night, the clapper, Iona here with Tobin Anderson, clapping on the sideline. They gagged that lead as well. The problem is the turnovers. You cannot be turning the ball over that much, Vermont. They're well coached. I think Becker will get it right, but 3 bad losses in a row. Now maybe they got Buffalo, Delaware, Fairfield. Maybe they get things going here, but Vermont with the turnovers, that's going to kill them because they don't have the talent to score big points. Ace Bailey was back. He was out for a couple games, came back to give his debut for Rutgers, 17.6 rebounds, 3 stocks. Ace Bailey, as much as Cooper Flagg is great, Ace Bailey's going to put on a show this year for Rutgers, and they need him because they're struggling to stop teams on defense and to win and cover by margin. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to today's picks. We'll start. Be careful with this. Be careful with these games. I'm going to go through them. Not all of them are plays, but a lot of them people had messaged me they want to talk about, so I'm going to get into them. Cornell is really good, and Cornell is tough at home. I don't know if Cornell is going to blow out Lafayette. I think Cornell needs to take advantage of some turnovers. Cornell needs to take advantage of some overplays. That's not what Lafayette's going to do. And ever since Virginia lost to UMBC several years ago, I remember saying, when you're a fast-paced team, you want to play a slower team because you want to force them into turnovers. When you're a slower team, you want to play a fast-paced team because you want to get opportunities for easy buckets. Lafayette is going to shoot threes. Lafayette has a couple bigs inside. Lafayette played well against Villanova. Not that's any great accomplishment. But this number has gone up here to 10. Small wager on this one. I like Cornell. I like them a lot. I don't like them as a double-digit home favorite against Lafayette. I think Lafayette can shoot. I think they can keep this game relatively close. It's gone up this morning from 7.5, so I'm always concerned there's an injury that's lurking out there that people know about. I haven't seen anything. But Cornell lost at LaSalle by 16. They did beat Sanford at home, but only by 2. I get it's Lafayette with Mike McGarvey, but this is a Lafayette team. It's decent from three-point range. They don't turn the ball over. Cornell wants to get some turnovers. Just seems like a lot there. This one, you could go either way on this one. Frank Brank likes it here at FTN for +6 with Wake Forest. This is my issue. Wake Forest does not have a deep bench. They don't have a lot of players. I love Steve Forbes, and I love this Wake Forest team. They beat Coppin State, North Carolina A&T, Michigan, and USC Upstate. The problem is they only play 6 guys. So you're going to go to Xavier with Sean Miller, who always shoots well at home, who gets up and down the floor, who's going to push the pace. Hunter Salas is great. Cam Hilder's okay. I don't think he's great. He's okay. If they get in any sort of foul trouble, this game could get out of hand. So do I think Wake Forest keeps this game close? Yes. But I think Xavier's pace at home, 3-point shooting, eventually pushes this one away. I don't like laying points, that's for sure, especially against Steve Forbes. But Xavier in this matchup, I think in a true home game, is going to pull away and get the W. They put 94 up against IU Indy at home. They put 94 up against Jackson State. They're going to shoot the three. I think Wake Forest's lack of depth eventually catches up to them, and I expect a 62-62 game to become 75-62 in the blink of an eye in the second half. So I'm going to lay the points here with Xavier. Okay. I like the Columbia Lions. Columbia has really impressed me. They have some very good players. Now, this is 12. It's a big line, and Columbia did not cover against Lehigh. I get that. But Mercyhurst is coming in now. Gary Manchel from Mercyhurst coming in, and they're going to play at Columbia, who has been able to score points. They played a very slow pace, Mercyhurst. They like to turn you over, but Columbia is not going to turn over. They're terrible on the boards. They've played Canisius at home. They beat Morgan State away. I think Columbia gets it done here. Columbia is one of the very underrated teams in the country under Jim Ingles, and you've seen some big scoring performances there. Geronimo Rubia de la Rosa, 24 points, 4 of 8 from three-point range against Lehigh. That type of player Mercyhurst can't stop. I think they get the W here. This was 10.5 this morning. It's gone up to 12.5. We are going with it there. I watched Dartmouth. They beat us. We lost that game when we backed them. They're not very good. They don't create off the bounce. They look for you to make mistakes. Now they're going on the road at BU. They couldn't beat Albany. BU is lost 3 games, but they were Northeastern at home, then San Diego, then UCLA. They went out West Coast. Now they come back home. They usually do well at home. I don't really like Dartmouth. I don't think they can create off the dribble. I think BU can. I think Joe Jones gets it right here with BU. He's been there for a long time, and they usually are a good cover machine at home, BU. Not impressed with Dartmouth at all. I'll lay the small number here. I do like Notre Dame this year a lot. I just don't think Notre Dame should be favored on the road against Georgetown. And I'm not a big Ed Cooley guy, but Notre Dame has 2 players that you have to stop. They have Marcus Burton in the backcourt, and they have Braden Shrewsbury. They played a Buffalo team. They got their doors blown off by Bryant at home. And Buffalo hung around in this game for a long time and was actually up 37-30. So I just don't think Notre Dame, although Micah Shrewsbury's done a good job, and he has a very solid backcourt, Burton Shrewsbury, his son, I don't think they should be favored on the road. That's where I draw the line. So in what is a coin flip game, again, we'll lean to the underdog. I will take Georgetown and the 2.5 points. I'm fine with the money line as well. I'm always going to take Radford when they're an underdog, plus 4.5. Radford, very well coached by Darius Nichols. Good defensive team, fundamentally sound, going to be great on the offensive boards. Evansville is okay. They've been up and down. They got blown out by Middle Tennessee because we always take Middle Tennessee State at home. Spoiler alert. North Texas, they got blown out. Radford is the same type of team as a North Texas. I could easily see them winning this game on the road. Evansville shoots a ton of threes, but they don't make them. They've shot 50% of their shots have come from 3. And they're making 22% of those shots. And I think Radford's defense is strong enough to limit them here. I think it's too many points. Excuse me. I think it's going to go down to 3.5 by the time the game tips. I like Tulsa. I'm not taking teams on the road unless I'm absolutely sure that they can cover. Tulsa has been great under Eric Conkle at home, play with fast pace. They beat Oral Roberts, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now they're going on the road to Missouri State. Missouri State, very good at forcing turnovers under Quanzo Martin, and you're giving me 3.5. That number is a little high. If it was Tulsa -1, maybe it would be a no play, but 3.5 is a lot of points. I'll take Missouri State at home there. Same with Drexel and LaSalle. This is a Philadelphia battle. LaSalle with a nice win, but Drexel under Zach Spiker is good at home. Drexel is great at defending the 3. They're great on the defensive boards. They lost a tough one away at Temple, but they blitzed Colgate at home. I do not think LaSalle should be favored on the road here. Don't see that at all. Give me Drexel and the points at home. Indiana State's going through an adjustment period. This is a rivalry game in Indiana battle. I don't think Indiana State, remember their new coach, they lost a coach last year. They have Matthew Graves this year, came over from South Alabama. They have a lot of turnover on the roster. They play at a very fast pace, but they turn the ball over a ton. That's not a good recipe against a Ball State team that usually shoots well from 3 at home and is very good, Ball State, under Mike Lewis, at defending the three-pointer. They're very good at taking the three-pointer away. They'll feast on the turnovers. 5.5. No, I'm fine with the first half line here too. If you don't know who Igor Demin is, You better know. Igor Demon is a very fluid, like taller, mini Luka Doncic type of player. He's not at that level, but he's been dominant for BYU. Idaho's not going to know what hit them. I don't like laying big numbers. I think it's 29-30. I hate laying big numbers because of the backdoor cover. But I think BYU gets off to a flying start against Idaho today at home. I just wish the game was at night. It's during the day. But I will take BYU minus 16.5. You know I'm fading Indiana. I'm going to continue to fade Indiana. I see the comments, guys. I got to a minute. I'm taking South Carolina plus a 7.5. South Carolina with the bad loss to North Florida. But is it really that bad? Because maybe North Florida is pretty good. They've been battling and covering and doing a nice job. But Lamont Paris is an excellent coach. He's a great defensive coach. He's going to have something cooked up. They bounced back after the North Florida loss at home. They beat Towson handily and South Carolina State. Now they're going against Indiana. You know my deal with Indiana. I know they have the bigs. I don't trust the backcourt. I think you're going to have a good defensive battle here, a team that's strong in the offensive boards. It's going to battle those Indiana bigs as well. And they've had some good defensive stops. I think they shoot decently from three. I'm taking the 7.5 in Indiana. It's an automatic fade. As long as Indiana doesn't get a miracle game from Miles Rice, I think South Carolina is in it the entire way. I don't think Cleveland State should be favored by 8.5 over anyone. I think Cleveland State is still living off their reputation from years ago. They are not predicted high in the horizon this year. They're toward the bottom. Their metrics are terrible in defense. They're terrible against a two-pointer. They're terrible on defensive boards, and they're horrific at turnovers. They give turnovers away left and right. And this is an Eastern Michigan team that got to the window for us against IUND and battled the Texas State team, who was really tough defensively. Yes, they're going away to Cleveland State, but I think it's too many points. I'm taking it there. Arkansas State is one of my favorite teams to bet last year. They were one of the best teams against the spread. And I'm going back to them again this year. They are the favorite in the Sun Belt, and they're already off. They beat Akron, they beat Little Rock, and they played Alabama away and actually kept that game close and only lost by 9. Now they're facing Stephen F. Austin. They're great defensively. Stephen F. Austin wants to turn you over. Arkansas State is top 100 in offensive turnover rate. They have good guards. They're not going to turn it over. If that happens, Stephen F. Austin does not have the offense to keep this game close. They need turnovers. I'm taking Arkansas State on the first half and the money line as well. Mark Byington has something going on at Vanderbilt. He's brought that James Madison style over to Vandy, and their offense on that court, that weird court where the benches are at the end, is unstoppable. They're not turning the ball over. They're not even shooting well from three yet, but they're great on the defensive boards. He's brought a winning culture over there. They've blown out Maryland Eastern Shore, Southeast Missouri, and California. Now here comes Jackson State. I'm going to lay the 25.5. And if you know I'm laying 25.5, I really like it. I think Vanderbilt gets to 80 in this game, no problem. And I do not see Jackson State getting to 50. They really struggle. They turn it over. They're terrible on defense. And this is a very odd location to play this game. I'll get to the comments one second. I'm going to take Yale. Yale was good for us at Purdue, and you saw how Purdue played last night against Alabama. James Polakidis is one of the best shooters you don't know about. He was instrumental in the win last year. They knocked out Auburn in that first-round game, Yale. They're solid. They're well coached. They've played some tough games on the road, and Minnesota is struggling at home. They do have Dawson Garcia, but they are really struggling and have done nothing so far to separate themselves at all. They are 2-1, but they beat Oral Roberts at home. They barely beat Nebraska Omaha, and then they got beat up by North Texas. Who do you not want to play after North Texas? A disciplined, three-point shooting, fundamentally sound Yale team. So I'll take Yale plus the 4.5. Let's get to the comments, and then I'll get back here to a couple more games. Let's see what we got here. Joey, you are here, my friend. Love you, Joey. Love you, buddy. I'm not talking to Stetson at Oklahoma today, because Oklahoma under Porter Moser could be king of the little people a little bit. So I'm not sure where I'm at, Stetson, not talking about them, but love you. Great to see you as always, buddy. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, the Michigan one. You know what happened with the Michigan game? I was on the other side of this game. I liked TCU. The problem with the Michigan game is they just shot really well from three. I don't think Michigan is that good. I don't. Dusty May's okay, and he's got a good culture, and they got Vlad Golden inside, who, by the way, has made like 4 baskets this year. I think Vlad Golden from the floor. So he's not exactly Shaq as a 7-footer. And Danny Wolf is good, but they got a great performance in the backcourt last night. I think it was Shackelford. I think Shackelford came over from Auburn, had a really good game, and that's why. But I think TCU should have won that game. So I get you didn't hit the first one, but wasn't on it. Had I not? Yeah. Yeah, College of Charleston first half. Yeah, I got it. Brian. I'm with you. Yeah, Jameson, great to see you. Thursday was awesome. We rolled right through 7-3 on the sides across the board. Jason, great to see you in the house. Awesome, man. Yeah, Saturday's going well. Today's tricky, Jason. No, last couple of days have been a million games that have jumped out that I like. Today, it's sort of up and down. So pick wisely today with the games that you pick. High rolling, it would not be a show unless you were here. Yeah. No, I don't think they can beat them. 27.5, though, Joey. No interest in that one. Yeah, Villanova stinks, Dan. Villanova stinks. I don't like Virginia either, and I don't think they're going to be very good against North Carolina, Duke. Those games are not going to go. Wake Forest on the road, forget it. But Villanova is that bad. It's real. It's Eric Dixon, and that's it. And I didn't put this out. I even went Eric Dixon over 17.5 points, and he barely got it. He got 18 with like a minute left. So Virginia is broken. Do not touch them at all. Elon, nice win at Gardner-Webb. Excellent, sir. Yeah, Pancho, I'm taking Georgetown in the points. I like Notre Dame. I like them at home. I like what Shrewsbury's doing. I really like Marcus Burton. But you do have Micah Peavy. You have some good athletes on Georgetown. Not that Ed Cooley is some great coach. I don't think that. But I do think he's assembled enough talent that they should not be an underdog at home by 2.5 points. I appreciate guys. Like button, always appreciated. Cincinnati Final Four. Wes Miller does a good job, Noah. That's a really sneaky one. That's another one last night. They played. Yeah, they played Nichols with Nichols coming off Thursday against Northern Kentucky, a battle against Northern Kentucky. They go to Cincinnati and get dropped. I like Wes Miller, and he's done a good job in the Big 12. That's not easy. They got Northern Kentucky away on Tuesday, Georgia Tech. They got Villanova. But yeah, Cincinnati's got a good one. That's a good call, No. I appreciate that. Couple more games. We'll get to it and then get out of here. I'm going to take Middle Tennessee State at home all the time. I don't like Steve Prohm. I don't like Murray State. I wish this game was at night. It's in the afternoon. But Murray State at home is a different type of animal. I like them. They hit shots. The only issue is the turnovers. They get a little sloppy. But if this number's under 5, I'm taking Middle Tennessee State at home. UTSA impressed me. Arkansas Little Rock on the road. UTSA went to, is it Bradley? Yeah, they went to Bradley, which is not easy, and kept it close. This is a big number to lay against Little Rock, but they're great on free throws. They don't turn the ball over. Austin Clunch is a very good coach. Came over from Nicholls State his first year with UTSA. Arkansas Little Rock, who's just okay. I think this is a tough spot for them. They don't rebound the ball well, and they turn the ball over a ton. UTSA is going to have a good, solid ball defense. This seems like a high number, I know. Kind of reminds me of the Chattanooga game on Thursday, which we nailed. 0-3 team laying 11.5. I like UTSA here. Old Miss doesn't look like the same Old Miss that I thought they'd be. I put Old Miss in the category of all these great defensive teams that lock teams down, like Texas Tech and Houston. They're not there. And you don't want to see Nico Medved walking through that door with this team. Colorado State is dangerous. They're very well coached. This game is not on campus. It's at the Landers Center. I'd love it to be 5.5, but I'm going to play Colorado State plus 4.5 against Old Miss. It's in Mississippi. But Ole Miss hasn't looked fantastic under Beard this year. He'll get it right and get them going. They're winning. They're just not winning by a ton. And Nico Medved is one of my favorite coaches in college basketball. So I'll take him when he's getting points in this spot. Sacred Heart stinks. This is not a heavy play, but if things are going well and you want to sprinkle, I'm fine with it. New Hampshire can shoot the 3. I don't like Sacred Heart. The game's in Providence. They got a big there against Holy Cross and then just gave it back. I don't know what Anthony Latine is doing. They should have been better last year. Very disappointing. I'll take New Hampshire plus 1.5. This is a very small sprinkle, guys, but I can't lay 40 points. I can't. With the Texas team, that with Rodney Terry, and this team is missing a couple players due to injury, I can't lay 40.5. I'm not telling you to go out and bet this one, but if later on you want to throw it in a parlay, I'll take 40.5 against anyone. I'll take myself and all the guys here at FTN. We'll get Alex Blickel. We'll get Josh Gross on the court. I'll take 40 against Texas. I can't lay 40, but not a big feeling at all. This is a great situational play with Winthrop. So these teams are playing at a neutral. Let me pull it up. Yeah. So Georgia Southern played at the neutral against North Carolina Central. The game's at Winthrop. So this is a tournament at Winthrop. They played last night and beat North Carolina Central 80-75. You have to turn around the next day and play the home team, Winthrop, who had a miracle comeback against William & Mary. They got up big. Then William & Mary, very disciplined team, which Georgia Southern is not, came back. Winthrop scored 5 points in the last 6 seconds, whatever it was. They made a basket. and then they stole the inbounds and hit a three to win the game. So big emotional win. I think it is very difficult for Georgia Southern at Winthrop on the road, coming off a game yesterday, to turn around against that pressure and win. I think Winthrop wins this game going away. I'm not going to fade Greg Campy with 27.5. You also may want to look at Hunter Dickinson, who dominated Michigan State here against Oklahoma, against the big game. Who did Kansas play? Yeah, Kansas had the big Michigan State. So he played well against them. Oakland, 27.5. It is at Kansas. They play that zone. They're really well coached. They just played at Illinois and kept that game close. I don't trust Kansas at all. I'm going to take Oakland plus 27.5 here against Kansas on the road, strictly as a fade of this perimeter Kansas offense and on the great coaching of, I think he's been there for 40 years, Greg Campy, who plays big teams very well. Remember they won at Xavier last year? They were shorthanded. Too many points. I'm going to fade FAU until further notice. FAU with a double overtime win over Charleston. Great job. Now who do you get today? Liberty. As long as Liberty doesn't get buried early, because they can't come from behind, as long as they keep in this game, they should win this game. This was FAU minus 1.5. It is flipped this morning. Liberty minus 1.5. I am taking them. I'm not fading Jerry McNamara. He's off to a fantastic start. Now he's going up to Albany. Albany can attack you off the dribble a little bit, and this is an interdivision, North New York, interstate, North New York battle. But Jerry McNamara's got something going on at Siena. They're 3-0. They beat Brown in overtime. They beat Bryan away in overtime. That's not easy. They beat American. And now you're going to give me 5.5 points with them on the road against Albany. What has Albany done to deserve this? Can't make threes. They don't really turn you over a lot. This is a very tough spot. I'll take the underdog in the 5.5. I'm taking Hofstra with Speedy Claxton. Another one I want to look at here is the over. I think I put this in the Discord, the over last night at 145.5, because UMass loves to run and get up and down the floor. But Hofstra is really well coached with Speedy Claxton. Even Rick Pitino said it last year. They went to St. John's and they battled really well last year. I'm not laying 6 points. I like UMass, and they're really good at home, and they can get out and run. As long as they guard Diggins, there's not a ton of offense with UMass. So I do like the over, but I'm going to take Speedy Claxton when you give me 6 points at UMass. Love my UMass Minutemen. I just think this is too many points to lay, and I think Hofstra has a chance to win this game. So I'll just take the 6 points on the coin flip. And like I said, I got it. It's now up higher. I think it's at 147, but I did get it last night at 145.5. Couple more. Purdue Fort Wayne is great at home. They get up and down the floor, and they are the favorite in the Horizon. They are the preseason favorite. They play with a lot of pace. They had 91 at home against Bethune-Cookman. Now they're playing a Southern Indiana team, which has been gamey. And it's their third year, Southern Indiana, here in D1 in the Ohio Valley. But this is a tough spot. It's also their third straight road game, Southern Indiana at Marshall. They beat Bellarmine away. And prior to that, they had 2 overtime games. They had an overtime game against DePaul, which they lost. They had an overtime game at home against Bucknell, which they lost. They went away to Marshall, which is tough. They beat Bellarmine away. This is their third straight road game. Purdue Fort Wayne, track meet, ball up, we're shooting. Looks like this is a tough spot for them. You know, Bradley at home is an automatic play. We almost lost it last time. They were up 20. They gave it back, but I'm always taking Bradley at home. And I, regardless of what the spread is, they have the ability to cover this game in the first half. If you want to look at the first half, that's fine. Northern Illinois does nothing metrically, and they turn the ball over a ton, which Bradley can feast on. Omaha's been great for us. Omaha plus 6.5 at Southern Utah. Again, these are not teams that are mainstream, but Omaha played well against Minnesota. They covered for us against UNLV, so they've been 2 straight covers for Omaha, and they beat Joey Wright's Stetson team. So Omaha's pretty good, and they're pretty live. Now they're going away to Southern Utah, who's been terrible with turnovers. The worst team in Division I with turnovers. I think it's very live. And the late night one, depending on how we do, we don't have to bet this one, but San Fran's good. San Fran is good, and their offense is clicking at home. And San Fran is now up to number 63 in Ken Palm. They're shooting it great from inside the arc. Chris Gerlifson is a great coach, a great X and O coach. He followed the Florida coach who was there, Todd Golden, for a while. He's got things going. This team is good. They also have seen some terrible luck. They're 3-0, but teams are shooting 84.6% from the free throw line against them. Despite that, they beat Cal Poly, Boise, who's good, and Long Beach State at home. Here comes Chicago State. I'm not afraid of Chicago State. I think they blow them out. Chicago State is shooting 37% from inside the arc, and San Fran's track meet should be able to put this game away. Any questions here? I see one that just dropped in. Top three spreads, Darryl. Thank you for this one. I appreciate it. Top three spreads. Let's take a look and see if I can give you three and get yourself a nice little parlay. Maybe that's what we're doing. Let's take a look. Top three. I will take Georgetown plus the 2.5 against Notre Dame. That would be one of them. Arkansas State, however you want to slice it. I think Arkansas State is really good, and I don't think Stephen F. Austin can score with them. And a third one for your little parlay here. Let's see. I'll give you two. I'm fine with Liberty against that double overtime game from Charleston. They're going to be tired today. And let's go with Bradley at home. There you go. I hope that hits for you, Dow. Put that together. See what you can do to make that happen. Guys, 30 minutes. Sorry, a little long today. In and out. Tuesdays, 1:30. Thursdays, 1:30. Saturday, 10 o'clock. And we're going to be live here. Already flying. Already doing well. Up 11.7 units on college basketball sides. It's only been 2 weeks. Join us here at FTN. Promo code College Basketball Show. Get you 15% off. Jump in the Discord. NFL's going great. Fantasy football, we have you covered. You know that's our bread and butter. But college basketball, women's college basketball, NBA is flying high with Marshall with those ladders. Check our Twitter feed. I'm at Randle Rant. Up 47 units, Marshall Gershon is. That's unbelievable. And our models are the best in the business. You're going to want to check them. And when the model says it and we like it, it's really a full play. So as always, thank you, folks. We appreciate it. Darryl, I appreciate you. Hi, Roland Martinis. And don't forget, guys, you know our motto. Follow us here at FTN Fantasy because we find you the edge. Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6. Have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players